Welcome back. We're on day 36. Looks like we're going to make Alan's contest. And what I'm going to do today, or tonight, is I'm going to get this ready for the trim colors, the most fun part. I'm going to be doing this movie a little different. I talked here at the beginning, but I'm going to be doing a voiceover type thing so you can see how I do all this. And I'm just going to let it run and I'll edit it up as I go after the fact. Airplanes come out real nice. I put wheel spats on it instead of wheel pants like Tom had for the simple fact we're starting to pick up weight and I don't want to have this airplane heavy. I've got quite a few ounces left to go to the 64-ounce mark, but I don't want to use them any more than I have to. So the general drill is going to be, I'm going to wipe it all down with Windex, and then we're going to lay out the trim colors in the blue fine line tape, and I'll show you how I do that, and then mask it and paper it all, and then shoot it. I'm going to be shooting this, I got about 5 shades of red mixed up now. Pearl red, deep red, maroon, and it's going to have some trim laid up on the nose. I still have to take the whole thing back apart, take the motor out of it. I just wanted to make sure we're doing good on balance, and so far it's great. So I got to mount the tail wheel, that's left, and wrap the lines. But if I had to fly it this weekend, I could. And that's just to show you can build a nice stunt plane in a short amount of time. I do put a lot of time in them, but anything worth doing is worth doing well. And if I could show you any tips or tricks, please feel free to ask on the forum.
Your love kept my heart on fire. It burned with desire. My world is falling down without you. What you all have done in your life. Don't leave me, no, don't leave me. Don't leave me, no, don't leave me. Don't leave me. We shared so many things together. Thought our love would
Well, we're almost there. It's been about 15 minutes. I don't want to bore you to death. But that's how I lay out the stripes on these things. I'll go ahead and finish this up off camera, and we'll come back and I'll show you the shooting of the paint. Okay, So we're we'll about see in a bit. 45 minutes in, and I've got all the tape laid out, and on the nose. So now it comes down to your artistic eye. What do you want to see on the airplane? Well, keeping this in mind, I'm going to be painting this spinner. So you think, okay, well, no big deal. Well, I don't want to put any pearl paint on the spinner. The reason being is the spinner takes a lot of abuse. It ends up needing repainted, once or twice a season. And so we're gonna go with a solid color on that. I mixed up the pearl yesterday pearl red. It's a deep red. Then I have a, I'm going to be using SIG dope, which is certified. And then a colored dope, which is Randolph. And I'm going to use some black to tint this in different shades. Black and white, some yellows. So what I thought was is I would use insignia red on this set of stripes here, and on this stripe here, and on this stripe here. The pearl red would be in this stripe here that goes to the back. And then we'll highlight it with an airbrush with some other color. The wings, I haven't quite figured out what I want to do on that, because looking at Tom's Minado, I really don't particularly care for the trim. And I don't know, there's nothing saying that I have to copy the trim. Matter of fact, this nose art is not a copy of his trim. This is, like I said, it's just Minado in name. And that's it. This is a Thunderbolt wing, a Super Tiger 60. The numbers are 10 3/4 nose, 18-inch tail. It has approximately a 25%, 27% stabilizer. And I think it's going to work real good. We're going to know, I think I'm going to be able to make Alan's contest. I only got, a little less than 2 weeks to go, but I think I can get her done. And if I can't, it will certainly be at the September contest. And we just hope that it flies good. So, that's where I'm at now. I'll get back with you after I... Okay, about an hour later, here's where we are. I got it basically taped off. Now I'm going to add the paper, and I'm going to show you how I do this the easy way. These are going to be 3 different colors, so you think, well, what am I going to do here? Well, this is going to be red, a Fokker red, and Fokker red. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tape off the airplane so we can paint the Fokker red. I'll paint the Fokker red, and I've decided that what I'm going to do on the next color, which is this color right here, the stripe, I'm going to paint that black first, and then I'm going to paint it a pearl red, give it a pearl essence, so it'll be like a black cherry red. So that's where I'm at, and this is how I'm going to do it. We don't know, this is all an experiment. Custom painting is an experiment, and this is going to be the first time that I've ever put a motorcycle type paint job on an airplane. I painted a lot of motorcycle tanks, custom painted a lot of motorcycle tanks, but never painted an airplane in that realm. So we're going to see what it looks like. Ought to be interesting, especially with the gold leaf. I got a vision what I want this to look like, and we'll see. I don't have a whole lot of room for clear. That's the only problem. Now another trick that I'd like to suggest on taping, what I do is with the masking tape, this is the good quality commercial grade masking tape, is I run it across my shirt before I put it down. Not to say that my paint is going to lift, but it gives you a little added insurance, so to speak. Because if there is any place that paint is going to lift, tape's going to take it right off. And there's just not much you can do. And what that happens from is lack of thinner. So, run it on your shirt before you put the tape down. But you'll notice, see, I put the tape on the wing here. And if I end up ever, I do have a problem, I can always heat it. When you tear it off, you don't lift it up because that's going to peel the paint up. You roll it back on itself. Nothing. Didn't hurt it at all. These are just little tricks to help you save your paint job. Next thing I'd like to talk about is red paint. Red is an odd color. The reason being is, if you paint in your house, as I do, be ready for red dust on everything, no matter how sealed the doors are or whatever. For some reason, red dust goes everywhere. And if you're painting red on white, I'll bet you $1 million you're going to have red overspray under the tape somewhere. And we'll probably have some red overspray under this, but fortunately the airplane's red, so we don't have a problem. And the best thing to take that overspray off is the 91 proof alcohol. Catch it when it's fresh. This whole setup, once I start painting, the dual colors will take probably an hour. And I'm going to do this fuselage first, just to see how I like it, and then do the wings. A lot of guys tape everything off and then paint each color. Well, I don't do that. I paint one color, two colors, and then three colors right away, and take the tape off and see if I'm going to like it. But that's entirely up to you. It's the nice thing about model airplane building is it's your creation. You can do it as you want. I have different methods. They've been successful for the last 50 years. They're speedy, and I just want to share them with you. Building model airplanes will give you a lot of skill if you really get into it in different things in life. Alright, so I'm going to finish papering off the airplane with my masking paper that I showed you early on in the paint sequence. It's probably the easiest way to do things for me. And it's cheap. I think it's, like I said, it's about $11 for a mile of, oh, it's more than a mile of paper. And it's a whole lot easier than digging up newspaper. That's what I used to do. And newsprint leaves black ink on things. This doesn't. So, I'll finish this off. I'll cut the camera. We'll be back in a short. And I'll start shooting the first color on it. And I'll show you what that looks like and how I back mask for the second color. And the third color, the cherry pearl red, will be done with an airbrush. So, there's no need to go through all the taping again because I have greater control on where the paint goes than I do with a paint gun. Been thinking about that gold leaf too, more and more, about the sizing. Thinking about using Elmer's white glue as sizing. I don't see why that wouldn't work, because you can dope over white glue. Spray the Elmer's glue on thinned out, put the leaf on it, let it set, and then clear over it. But I'm not sure yet. It might be just the gold dope. See, I got a couple of holes in this thing. I don't know where they came from. But as I said, be careful with red because it goes everywhere. thing when painting, don't leave any creases open. Tape them off. If you leave them open, what happens is the airspray, the overspray collects in those folds and will certainly give you a problem. It will bleed into the paint. So, where you fold the paper, tape it off. Make sure all the edges are sealed. But we're letting the camera run. I guess I'll just let it run and finish taping this off. Now this piece of tape here that I'm putting on, I do not rub it on my shirt because we're going from paper, we're taping on paper to tape. And I want that seal real good. I don't want it coming off while I'm doing things. I can hardly wait to get the clear on this and make this red pop. I was looking at my other Miss Ashley red airplane, and there's a difference in hue, I guess is what you would say, just from the clear. You can tell it's the same red, but it doesn't look the same. So we'll get that on there. I think we're about 37 days in. 37 total work days, so that's 370 hours. The actual time is a little longer because I spent a week at Brodax, so it's about 42 days or so from start. I'd have to go back and look at the form and see exactly where I'm at. But, you know, I see guys take 5 years to build an airplane. I don't think I could do that. I would probably lose interest in it. But I'd like to get the project done and then take a break. When I get this project done, I'll probably take a couple of week break and start my next project. Here's what I'm talking about, folding the paper over and taping it. When I paint this, I'm not going to be able to show you me painting because the compressor is so loud, but it only takes it'll take less than 2 minutes to paint this when I start painting. All the work is in the prep. It's 2 hours to tape, 2 minutes to paint. anybody can paint. Not everybody can sand. Okay, so now let's turn it over. And we'll go around the bottom side. I saw somebody talking about rattle can paint. I once painted a motorcycle tank with spray cans and won a bike show with it. Flames. That's back when you could buy lacquer paints. And it doesn't matter what the delivery system is. Lacquer, as long as you know how to sand, comes out beautiful. All right. Turn it over. Finish off the bottom. Okay, we are now about ready to shoot some color on it. You don't need to tape all this other stuff off because we ain't gonna be painting there. And with my gun, I have more control than just spraying it right out there. I spray right on the spot that we're gonna paint. We're not gonna flood this thing with a ton of paint either, and that's a problem that a lot of guys run into. They think that they need it shiny. Well, that's not the case. The clear is what makes it shine. If you load a lot of paint on there and get it real thick, you'll have a problem. It softens the dope up at the tape line, and when you pull it up, it'll pull the paint right off. So you just dust it on and that's it. Alright, so give me a few minutes, I'll mix up some paint. And we'll shoot the poker red here, poker red here, poker red here. And I'll let that dry half an hour. I'll backmask that and shoot black and the pearl red on top of this stripe right here. So we'll see you in a short. Well, as I stated, it took about 2 minutes to paint it. And what we have here is the darker, the poker red in this stripe. And I think by looking at this, and this is, all by the seat of my pants, I don't think I'm going to paint that dark. I'm going to put the pearl red in the gun and just paint the pearl red right over the top of the poker red. And we'll see what happens there. And if I don't like it, I can always, come back and paint it black, and then, paint the pearl in it. But I think the poker red is going to be just fine. So, we're going to give it about oh, I'd say 15 minutes to dry. I'll put another coat on it, another 2 minutes, and then we'll give it another 15. I'll backmask it. We'll shoot the pearl on it, the pearl red, or the black, depending on which way I'm going to go, and we'll see what it looks like in about an hour. So we'll see. Okay, this is where I'm at. I have the poker red done, and I've shot the black on. This is the pearl red. I wanted a much darker stripe, so that's why the black is in base, or the stripe is in black base coat. So we're going to go around the edges of this stripe and see what it looks like. I don't want to completely darken it in. I just want to see what it's going to look like. And I'm not going to like it. Well, let's step back and look at it. I don't think I like it. So we'll shoot the black back over it and leave it at that. Turn it sideways here and get a look at it. Nope, I don't like it. So we're going to forego that. And I'll just shoot it black and that's it. So let's take my little touch-up gun here and go over the top of that. I don't like it. So that was a good thing to at least test out and show you that you can change your mind. This is all about what you want. Actually, it don't look bad like that. We'll think of something else. Much better. So, I'll be back in a bit after I unmask it. Well, we're down to it, the moment of truth. How does it look when we pull the tape off? And are we going to pull up any paint? Remember, it's all DC 540. Hopefully I use enough thinner. I relieve the tape of its stickiness. So far, so good. I'm not sure I'm going to like the black stripe either. I don't know what I'm going to do here. I might have to retape it and paint it red. But I know I wanted a contrasting color. Now, I don't wait for a day or whatever to remove the tape. I remove the tape as soon as I can get it off. It leaves less chance for the tape residue to lock into the airplane. I tell you what, if you leave tape on for a week, you'll never get it off. Especially if you live in a hot area. Feels like quite a bit of tension there, so we don't want to force it. You want to kind of finesse this tape off because we don't want to have to repaint the base color on it anywhere. Can't get a hold of it. Alright, now let's take the fine line off and see what it looks like. The moment of truth. See if we got any place that's got any dust on it. Little mother spit to get that off. Okay. Now do one piece of tape at a time, pull it right back on itself because you're separating two different colors that are not dry. So if you pull it one way or the other, you're going to pull the paint up. Come on. Okay. The reason why I'm doing this taping video is somebody on the forum asked, they wanted to see what tape I used and how I did it. Because I don't have all these problems that everybody else has. Once in a while it happens, but not very often. You'll notice that there's flashing on it. Well, we're not going to worry or concern ourselves about that till later on this evening or tomorrow. We'll just take a credit card and knock that off. And you won't, I mean, it'll be a nice clean line. If you do it now, you're running the risk of taking the paint up. Let's see here. come from this side. Like where I cut with the razor blade, I'm having an issue. Start from the other end. Anyway, this kind of gives you an idea how I do it. So I'm going to shut the camera off because I don't want to load up the file with 1,000 hours of pulling tape. And I'll show you what she looks like when we come back. So, we'll see you in a bit. Okay, what we're doing now is we're cleaning the lines up. I got an old credit card, and there's always flash left over. And you let the paint dry, an hour or so, and you just take the credit card and very gently rub it on the flashing, and the flashing will come off. And that'll give you that nice clean line, if you use fine line tape. Use masking tape, it doesn't give these kind of results. So, suggestion is, it's expensive, it's about $5 a roll, but if you're going to have a model with you want a model with a nice clean paint job, get the right equipment from the body shop. Just take your time, it's kind of the zen of finishing. There's way more work to getting the trim on than just spraying it on. Because after this step is done, and I get it closer, it'll get a dust coated clear, and then the whole thing will get steel wooled up here, so these get buried in the clear so you can't feel them. The clear with the thinner will melt it, and the steel wool will kind of blend in the edges, and then you give it another coat of clear and they're gone. I showed you that I did try that candy apple or the pearl base paint. I didn't think I was going to like it when I saw the color of it. It's just not what I had in mind. So this is a lot closer to what I had in mind. Just leave the black on it. This is Poker Red. Then this is the Miss Ashley, and then the black. And I have some more different color reds that I'm going to put on it in different trim spots. Still debating on gold leaf lettering, how I want to do that. And is it going to look appropriate on this? So we go over it once, and Probably it'll take a few times going over it to get it perfect, but so what? Took quite a bit of time to get this nose trim on there. Not in the actual painting, but in the preparation, the taping and laying it out and getting it ready to paint. It took less than a minute to paint the thing, and quite a few hours to get it ready to paint. At this stage, do not put any of the 91 proof alcohol on it, because it will take the paint off. Rub a towel back and forth, and that helps get those nibs off as well. Let's see about some decals for this too. Thinking about inking, and there's a million things going on that I want to do on this. I'm just wondering if I'm going to have the time before Alan's contest. Too bad I didn't think of this before the Nats. I would have took it to the Nats. I've got to start on my next Nats airplane right after I get done with this, because it will take some time. Got it. Just take your time, work all them little nibs or whatever you want to call them off. They will all come off. Just a matter of rubbing it long enough. Don't push hard, just very lightly. The paint's not on very thick either. That's why you don't have to push too hard, because there's not a big ridge. It's just a few thousandths of an inch. And that's why it dried so fast, because you don't lay on the paint gun to put trim on. It does not have to be glossy. This has a semi-gloss to it, but it won't really pick up what they call pop until the clear goes on. I'm going to post a picture of this on the web here. And let me know what you think. If you think I'm going in the right direction. Yeah, it's going to take a little more drying. ready to bump off there yet. I got a stubborn one right there too. Yeah, we'll try a razor blade on it. Yeah, let it dry and that should come off. Yeah, what are we doing? I'm glad I decided not to go with pearl colors. Boy, that would have been a headache. Smells like a new car. Coming. We'll get them all off of there. Well, I'll come back when I got some more progress to report.